Hey, did you ever want to make a chord fatter?
You want to make it fat?
Sometimes you just want more fatness in a chord. You know what I mean by fatness.
Like eating food.
I mean fat with that vaunted PH spelling that the young people like so much.
Oh.
You want it to be fat. You know? Like, okay, that's nice, but it's just sort of plain.
You mean...
Plain. I need fat.
You want to get hep with the jive.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ah.
I wasn't quite sure how to word it. Well, let's talk
young
about...
folks are always talking.
Let's talk about how to fatten a chord, how to make it fatter. There are two ways to go. One is to extend it downward with the bass, and the other is to extend it upward. Let's talk about extending downward with the bass. We start with just a normal chord, an average chord,
Triad,
a plain
if you will.
chord, a triad, a C major triad. How do I make it fatter?
We'll just make that fat.
And yet, I still want to sing the same melody and everything. So I want everything to work. So I think what I need to do is like keep that C major chord the same, so that it doesn't become a different chord, you know. What I could do is, here's the secret, drop the bass a third. Drop the bass a third. If I'm in the key of C, what would that mean the bass would be?
A.
Same chord. Same chord.
It's a little more tasty.
Oh, I got that going now. Okay. All right. So I drop the bass a third, diatonically, whatever chord I'm on. Okay. If I want to make it even fatter, I could drop the bass another third.
To an F.
Okay. And now I've got this F major 9 chord, but the original C major chord is all still there. I just have it's a lot fatter that way.
Then we have fat chord.
So that's a lot fatter. Now, if I use that technique of fattening a chord by dropping the bass a third, I can create a very different sort of mood. You know the song Lord, I Lift Your Name on High?
Oh, yeah.
C, G, D, C. Lord, I lift your name on high.
We're
Now,
not very fat yet.
no. If I were to make that fatter, what might I do? Well, according to my principle here, I'm just going to take the bass. I'm still going to play G, C, D, C with my right hand, but my bass, or with my guitar, but my bass, whether my left hand in piano or the bass guitar, I'm going to play E instead of G, and instead, while I'm playing a C with my right hand, I'm going to play an A, and then I'm going to play a B while I play the D chord. Hear this? Whole different mood. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. That was good. Okay, that was fat. I think that was fat. There was some...
I was feeling the fatness and I was just going with it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, anyway, another way to use the bass to create more fatness for a chord is just to play the wrong note. I'm going to go back to C now. I'm playing a C chord with a C. C over D. C over E. C over F. C over G. Over A. Even over B. Now listen. My right hand all stayed the same, but it sounded a whole lot fatter, didn't it? You are Lord of the heavens and Lord of the earth, Lord of the earth and the sea. We bow down and we worship you, Lord.
Some fatness. Fat.
I'm like implying a whole chord progression there, but really I didn't change anything about my original chord. Whatever melody I was singing with still works. It's just that the bass is playing a different note. Hence, creating more fatness.
Fatness.
We talked about how to add fatness to a chord by changing the bass note. There's another...
Dropping it a third.
Dropping it a third in particular. There's another way that you can do the same thing, and that is add fatness by extending the chord. They call this chordal extension.
Chordal extension.
I start with root, third, fifth, my plain old ordinary C major chord. And now I'm going to add a seventh.
Ooh, a little triadic improvement.
1, 3, 5, 7. Yeah. All right. If I want to add even more, I can add a ninth, 11th, or 13th. By the time I get to 15, I've started over. I'm just back to a C again.
Repeating yourself now.
Now you could figure out the math of that. 15 is 2 octaves. An octave is an 8. 8 plus 8 is 15. Only in music is 8 plus 8 15. But somehow that works. 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. You can spend some hours trying to figure that one out.
It's because 8 is 1, and you have to
Because 8 is
recount. So
1.
just
That's
don't.
what it is. Okay, in any case, so now I've fattened my chord by adding extensions on top. Now I could add extensions on top and extensions on the bottom. I'm starting with my G, C, D, C of Lord, I Lift Your Name on High. I'm going to take my G chord, make it a 7, major 7 in this case, my C chord, my D chord. I'll just leave it there with an add 6. Okay, now I'm doing that. Now I'm going to drop my bass a third.
Oh,
too.
Lord.
Lord, I lift your name on high.
On high. Oh, Lord.
Sing your praise.
I sing your praises. Oh,
I'm
Lord.
so glad you've been mine. All right, so extensions on top are really cool. Now the last thing that you can do is to add wrong notes, added notes, not as extensions 7, 9, 11, 13, but just think of them as being right in the middle of the chord, a 2, a 4, or a 6. So add a 2, 4, or 6, whether diatonic or chromatic. Ooh, fancy words. And all right, there are only some certain combinations that work, but for sure adding 2, adding 6, those things work.
Definitely
Very
adding
easily.
to the fatness.
And they just make the chord a little bit fatter. Hardly noticed it was that I added a 6 there. I added a 2 there. Maybe you noticed a little bit more there. Okay. Anyway, 4/3 suspension. So I can simply change the nature of the chord by packing in some extra notes, whether they are diatonic or even chromatic, and you can look at your chart and see some certain chromatic notes work better than others. But that's about all you need to do. So if you want to make a chord fatter, here's what you do. You start with the same chord, the original chord, and then either change the bass note by dropping it
A third.
or add another third on top of the 5th or the 7th, the chords that you already have.
Stack it up.
So either way, it's a chordal extension, thus adding to the fatness of a chord with that vaunted PH spelling that the young people like so much.
I'm glad.